This is session 7 of the worship class. Let's take a moment and talk about something I call informal worship, which several churches have picked up over the years. And if you take, let's say, you create a continuum, and this is traditional and this is contemporary, got to get used to the camera orientation, where my huge nose is in the middle, would be considered informal. In informal worship that I've seen done in the Methodist churches, they've used the black hymnal pretty exclusively, now a little bit toward the green. You, you take out the responsive readings, you take out the bulletin, but you still have prayers for certain things. You might even say the Lord's Prayer in your informal worship. Your sermon could be more dialogue with people, asking them questions and getting them to respond. That's a little different than in the big sanctuary. If you're going to do something like that, you can't do it with a group of 200 people. You got to be in a small numbers. So anything that's a quasi in the middle. People who say, well, I kind of like some of the old hymns, but not all of them. But I really don't like those heavy rock type Christian worship songs. That's where the United Methodist, especially the green hymnal, is really useful. So you're kind of in between. You probably do not want to have a huge band here for informal. And the one that I did for 3 years had a piano and drums, and that was more than adequate for the 40 people that came to it. Now, technology in worship, I want to go to Amazon because first thing you're going to say is, do I buy a projector? I am against projectors at this time, and I'll explain why. First, these portable projectors that you're seeing on Amazon, very nice, but they may not do what you want it to do. It depends how bright your sanctuary is. Can you dull out the lights coming in by pulling down shades? And of course, you have to turn off lights. The brighter the room is, the higher this lumen number has to be. Here, 2800 lumens is the brightness of the light coming out of it. So the brighter your sanctuary, the more lumens you're going to need to project. Also, there's a distance problem. These guys have their standard lenses with them. You would have to buy throw lenses. I'm not sure this is the right way to spell it. Nope, not the right way to do it. A throw lens is put on a projector if you have a huge distance because of focal length, it's called. It's a physics thing. What I highly recommend are these new LCD TV panels. And I'm not talking about the 32s. I'm talking about getting into the 60s and 70. Seeing if there's any here. And there should be some. Actually, right now, you can even get a 75-inch. If Amazon doesn't have it, as you can see, we always can go to another site. Go to bestbuy.com. They have, last time I was in there, only about a week ago, they had 75-inch LCDs. I'm sorry, well, LCD or LED, either way. 75-inch TV. It's going to depend again on what's available and what you can work with. Now, as you could probably see, you're probably a little bit shocked right now at the price, $4,000. I wouldn't recommend that. Okay, I have a couple here we can recommend. First, let's start with this. Notice this says 4K Ultra High Def Smart TV 2160. If you're going to project off your computer, 1080p is going to work just fine. There's not a lot of devices out there that are running 4K Ultra. If you have the money and you're in a big church and you're going to be expanding equipment in the future, definitely consider getting this. I like Samsung. I have Samsung in the house. I use Samsung phones and tablets, TVs. I've never been disappointed with them. However, an LED 1080p, which is more than adequate for what you're going to do in church, it's not like you're watching movies. Now, if you're going to be able to take your sanctuary and get all the pews are gone and you're going to put chairs in and you want to have a movie night, well, then maybe you do want to invest in these much more expensive units. Probably not a 3D unit, but you for $2,400 and you watch the sales. They're always on sale. This is a fantastic TV. And what you can do then, if you put a projector in, you're going to have to project it, or you're going to try to project it in the center of your sanctuary. If you can't do that, churches put them on each side. I'm suggesting that you go with panels. Couple of reasons. First one is the LED picture from the TV is going to be a lot better than any projector, because you don't have to be worried about the ambient light in the room. The TV will adjust. They all have sensors, especially Samsungs and Sonys. They have sensors that will be able to raise and lower the contrast so the room is adequate. The other nice thing about a TV, and we don't need help, a TV, is that if you have internet and phone coming into your church, you can go to Verizon Fios. I would recommend Comcast Triple Play, because you can put in phone, internet, and business TV. And if you bring in business TV, then you can show those pictures, those videos, those channels, if you will, in church. So you could have a Super Bowl party in a church using this big TV. And if you had an area, a sanctuary, let's say, that had movable chairs, I saw this at New Creation in Dover, they could very easily put chairs in an arrangement, maybe with some tables, and have a really cool Super Bowl party. And you would have then this TV to deal with, because then the TV tuners and all that you need are already built in. And that's how I recommend them. Let me put up laptop computers. I would not put a desktop computer to control your system. At this point, you can get some really good laptops, and then your tech people, or who's ever doing your media, can take that computer home, do the work at home, get a draft product ready, bring it into the church, and then clean it up at the church. What I'm going to recommend, without even blinking hard, this screen is too small, but I want you to see the Intel Core i7. That's the latest and greatest. The machine I'm recording on is a Toshiba Satellite Intel Core i7. It never slows down. It's got 4 cores in it, so it's a quad system. It's a 5th gen Intel. This is a very nice computer. The only problem with it is a small screen. I would probably go a little bigger. You probably don't need a flip, but you want a bigger screen than that. I want to see if they had one. Here you go. Now, this one is $2,000. This is a lot of money, and it's new. It's an Asus 15.6 screen, Intel i7 core with 16 gigs. So your video is never going to slow down. This also has 512 gigabyte of solid state drive in it. That's why it's so expensive. This is a magnificent machine. The i7 has all the processing power you need. 16 gigs of memory means your videos are going to stream like crazy. And solid state, of course, is much faster and more reliable than your hard drives, because your hard drives, there's actually platters and then a read head that goes like this in and out of the platters. Now, of course, nowadays you may not have, like I showed, 4 platters. But in a solid state drive, there's no mechanical parts to it. Very nice system. So I would recommend, as a minimum, the Intel i7 core, 8 gigabyte minimum, and at least a 512 gig hard drive. If you can afford solid state, like you saw in this one, the Asus, no question that I would go for it. While you're putting your technology together, speakers become a situation where you want to make sure the speakers are adequate to handle things. This is not a good place to search for speakers. You're going to want to go to a commercial site and get commercial speakers in. My guess is you already have them in. You probably have a sound system already in place. You can connect the computer to the sound system. That's easy. It's a stereo plug. It's a patch cable. One end in the PC, then two RCA plugs go right into your soundboards. Should not be a problem. Using technology in worship, it's very good to do. I do make a couple of other recommendations. If you're going to show a YouTube video, download it. There are plenty of sites that'll do free downloads. Let's see if I can remember one. There's one right off the bat because I use it a lot. keepvid.com. And what it will do, and we go past its updates and supported stuff. Here it is. Almost lost it. Here you would enter the link of the YouTube you want to download. And then you have a couple of options. And the video I put in doesn't exist anymore. Regular download, you download it, and then you may need to convert it in order to get it to work with your presentations. So I'll recommend that in a second. Oxalon is free. It converts. It really works well. I like free. There's all kinds of junk on their website. As far as presentation software, I may have to do a Google search on this one. What I'm looking for is called Media Shout version 5.0. Well, it's 5.1 I think by now. So I'm going to put in Media Shout. In my opinion, this is the best of the church presentation software. There are other packages out there. You can stick with your PowerPoint. No problem. However, there are advantages to the software. You probably want to take a look at it. It allows you to have moving backgrounds. Video is seamless. It's a beautiful product. There's no question about it. No question about it. Highly recommend that. By the way, just so you know, I do use PowerPoint to create static screens. That is, screens screens that don't have any movement on them, no animation. But I then feed them into Media Shout. See, I probably could even bring up Media Shout for you. Give me half a second here. I'll even bring it up. I bet I can. Here we go. We'll bring up Media Shout so you can have a quick look-see at it. It's going to take a second. There we go. Media Shout. This is what Media Shout 5 looks like. And what we'll do real quick is we'll insert a Bible. I only have the King James here. And I'm doing this very quickly, so I'm not being careful of what I'm doing. You can insert videos. If you have a DVD connected to the PC, or it has an internal one, you could actually read it off of that. You can even go to a video feed, and in this case could be a camera that's hooked up to the PC. You can bring in PowerPoint slideshows. You can bring in web pages. Again, bringing in a web page is a risk you take, because what happens if you lose your internet? I would go to that website, save the website locally, and then just deal with it that way. PDF files, text files. There's lyrics. all kinds of lyrics built into it. There's just a lot of stuff here. And it's not that complex. Everyone says, "Oh, it's so complex." It really isn't. Easy Worship is another product I'm familiar with. I like Media Shout 5 the best because of the full integration. And there are some other options you can work with. Let me show you another really neat software. It's called Band in Hand. I believe it's called Band in Hand. Band in Hand is a product that you can buy. Actually, the software is free. That works with your Media Shout. And what you do is you'll have to buy the songs from Worship Band in Hand. And no, they're about $10 a piece, so they're not cheap. But what you have in here, you notice you have, whoops, the flash moved on me. These pull bars are for different parts of a band. So if you're in a small church or even a big church, if you don't have depth for your lead singers, for your drums, for your pianos, you use these songs. They come with the words and the lyrics for the screen, for the Media Shout, and you can augment your band by saying, "Oh, put keyboards and drums in and guitars in and lead singers in." All that can be controlled right here with these pull switches. Very, very nice product. They're showing it here on an iPad. It does run on iPad. It does run in Media Shout. In fact, we'll show that to you real quick. Media Shout integrated Worship Band in Hand, which I think is pretty sweet. Now, there are other products. Like I said, you don't have to be limited just to the few I'm showing you. Okay, there's a lot more software out there. There's lots of things you can do. Keep it simple. The more complex you make it, the more chances it fails. Keep your slides simple for older people, even for younger people. Don't have so much swirling around the screen that they lose track of what the true message is of that particular graphic you're doing. All right, there's some questions for you to ponder below, and I hope you'll do that and have fun with it. See you later.